mute myself, right? Hola, mi gente. How is everybody? Happy New Year. I know it's January 31st, but that's the last time I'm gonna say Happy New Year for 2023. So great to see you guys, miss you guys. Looking forward to having some discussions with you guys today. We do have a packed agenda. So I am going to share my screen so that we can start on our presentations for today. Hopefully everybody can see that. Yes, yes?
Yes.
Awesome. So welcome to our January PC Power Hour. Today on the agenda, we will be talking about the winter 2023 and spring 2023 EVR process. We are joined with our colleague Elena, who is our EVR queen, and we'll be giving you some new updates about the process and how you will be receiving your information. Hayne will also be talking about the partner college surveys that went out earlier last month, and that process and what you guys can be doing on that front. And we're going to be talking about some programming that we're going to be leading off with scholars for this semester and some resources that are available to our scholars and that we want to make sure that you know are available to our scholars so that you can add as part of your tools and resources. In addition to that, we touched base briefly on the professional conference grants, and we talked about how last semester my colleagues Nicole and Melanie took a bunch of our scholars to the SHIP and Alpha conference, and we want to talk to you guys about how we're launching the program this semester and provide you some additional details. And then we'll leave some time for open forum for your questions, your comments, your feedback. As always, we want to hear from you. We want to know what you guys are thinking, what you need help with. So please, we will allow some time for that as well. With that, I will move on to Elena.
Hi, everyone. So glad to see you all on the call today. Wanted to go over some information that's going to change starting now with how you're ultimately going to receive your finalized EVR. During the fall term, we've had a lot more schools who were unable to receive the attachment email that had the EVR in it because firewalls have been strengthened at the school, things like that. Where it was being blocked and they couldn't get them. So even though Michelle was sending out that initial, hey, be on the lookout for it, you never got it because it was blocked. And because that number has increased, we have worked out a new way for everyone to receive that finalized EVR. And that will happen starting with the EVRs y'all are starting to submit for us. So you will still receive the wire email that says, hey, be on the lookout for it. We have sent the funds. And then from here, it'll tell you where you need to go. Sort of what I'm fixing to walk you through now, that information will also be in that email, just as a reminder of how you will go and grab your finalized EVR. So you will log back in to your ISTS portal, and there where you see that lovely little blue arrow under the document section, there is now a file that says finalized EVRs by term. And so you'll be able to click on that. And once you click on that one, Chris, if you'll jump to the next slide, you'll see another screen will open up and it will have the spring semester or quarter two, depending upon which system you are on for 2023. You'll click on that folder and then it'll open it up. If your finalized EVR is in there, you'll be able to access it, click on it, download it. And the one big change, because we have had just a standardized password across the board for those, it'll no longer be that the TheDream.Us password. You will now use your individualized report key to now open your report, just so that way, you know, another school, if they happen to grab somebody else's EVR by accident, download it, didn't pay attention to that, they will not be able to open it because it will not have their report key on it. So that is sort of how we have come up with a way to streamline this, so that, you know, we can make sure everybody has access to getting their EVRs once they are finalized and the wires are going out. So I hope that's, you know, pretty clear on there. I haven't gotten confirmation, but my hope is that also included in the email, it will tell you specifically which folder you need to go into for the term. So because we do every once in a while have those random ones where we're processing a payment for a past term, you know, you'll know exactly which term folder to go find your EVR in. So that's our hope for this spring moving forward. One other small thing to note is recently we've had a couple of people who have had to have passwords reset for getting into the ISTS portal, and the system has not allowed us to do that reset for you. We've had to go directly to ISTS and they've had to do it. So, and while they research that and figure out why it's not allowing that, I've put MD's information here at the bottom of this slide. It'll also be in the PC Weekly. But you'll just be able to email MD directly, and he'll be able to go ahead and make that change for you and reset the password so you can get back into the system. So I think that is it. And I do see Albert's got a question on there about, will it have the historical finalized EVRs? At the moment, it doesn't, Albert. That's something we'll have to talk through. But if we do process any EVRs for past terms, we'll at least have those on there. I don't know that we're going to be able to go back and just upload everything right away, but we'll talk that through. So good question. And that is it from me.
Awesome. So we are going to move on to the partner college programming, and Hayne will talk about the surveys.
Yes, thank you, Chris. So really quickly, just because I saw our Gabby Pacheco in the chat here talking to her partner colleges about an email she's sending. Really quickly, we know we're in the throes of application season, so you'll be hearing from each of the relationship managers or your individual contact here at TheDream.Us this week regarding your latest application numbers. I know all of you all are tracking them diligently in the ISTS PC portal, but we'll be sending a review, a quick snapshot of where your application numbers are at currently. And then in tomorrow's PC Weekly, we'll be attaching a spreadsheet with information on the high schools from which applicants are coming from. So just keep a lookout for that spreadsheet. It'll give you data on if there are particular high schools you know that are feeder schools. If you're looking to recruit more high school graduates, which we are pushing for this year, please pay attention to that PC Weekly going out tomorrow. And then also, as always, reach out to your relationship manager if you have any specific questions. Okay, so that's a quick heads up on the applications. And then for partner college programming, we just wanted to give you a heads up that this semester and throughout this year, Chris and I really want to do more. You know, these PC Power Hours are the starting point, but we want to build out more programming for you. I know that many of you are focused on providing programming for our scholars, but we also understand, especially for our newer partner colleges, that more infrastructural support, more resources are needed for our partner colleges to do the work to support our scholars as well as the undocumented student community on campus. And so Chris will be talking more about the specific programming we're offering, where we can get money into the hands of our students and career development opportunities that we're going to be offering to our students directly. But I just wanted to talk briefly about what to expect for you as partner college staff and what we have in store for you this year. So very quickly, just wanted to emphasize that we are going to reopen our partner college survey. Thank you to everyone who participated in it last December. December. We are missing responses from a number of partner colleges, and for our new partner colleges on the line, I do see some of our new partners for this year on the line. I'll be reaching out to you directly as well in February. I know you've been asking because you haven't received the survey link. We'll be reaching out to you in the month of February to get your responses to that survey. The reason why we're collecting this data is because we've been getting a ton of great feedback from you all about wanting to connect with other partner college staff, maybe outside of this Power Hour space. And so what we'd like to do is identify campuses with promising practices, whether it be providing internships, maybe it's a peer mentor program. Through this survey, we'll be able to provide a directory. So more information on what other campuses might be doing so that you can reach out directly to a contact at another partner college to continue building what we hope to be communities of learning and also sharing best practices nationwide. So can't emphasize enough, it's important for us to hear from you on the partner college survey and also for you all to evaluate us. We'd love to learn more about how we can be better supporting you, where there are areas for development, where resources can be further provided. All of that honest feedback is really, really helpful for us to develop programming for you. The other part of this that we're going to extend to our partner colleges in terms of data is our scholar survey data. So as you know, every May, we ask our students and our scholars about their experiences in the past academic year, and we do release annual reports, sessions where we share out the data for what all of our scholars have had to say. And then a number of you always reach out and ask, well, I'd like to know more specifically about what my scholars are saying on campus. So this year, we'll finally be able to return that data back to you so that you can hear and specifically learn from what scholars on your campus are saying about their experience with TheDream.Us, the program, and their campus experience. So we'll share more of that in the months to come, but this is an exciting new rollout of our data to each of our partner colleges so that you can better understand how your scholars are experiencing the program on campus. And I think I had one more bullet on here, Chris, but I am not entirely sure. Oh yes, summer trainings. Thank you. So these PC Powers we're learning is a great space for us to share best practices, get to know you all better. And then while during the semester, we're going to be very much focused on resources for our scholars, during the summer when students are out of school, we want to focus that time on you. So just know that in the summer, we're going to be shifting some of these partner college power hours to trainings for staff, whether it be on mental health, better understanding career opportunities for undocumented individuals without work authorization, for example, that will be shifting some of that focus during the summer power hours. And again, we have feedback available in that partner college survey. We'd love to hear from you in terms of what you would like to learn and if there are more better resources we can provide for you. And I think I'll stop there, Chris, and hand it back to you.
Gracias, Hein. Amazing. More to come on all of those resources. Now to jump into our 2000 programming and resources. If many of you, hopefully many of you remember last month, we talked about our new sort of platform that we are experimenting with called What You Need to Know, which is a series of TikTok style videos, roughly about 2 minutes long, very short, just to deliver information to our scholars and be able to provide them information on resources and practices and protocols in a very sort of concise manner that they can process quickly and sort of move forward. It is one of the platforms that we use to communicate with our scholars and get information from our scholars, in addition to the scholar survey that Hein just mentioned, which we also always hear back from our scholars that they are always in need of money, right? Like that is kind of a reoccurring theme for our scholars. They're always interested in ways in order to build income, whether that be paid internships, fellowship programs, or even ways to save money on things that come up for them and for daily living, specifically for our population. So we like to think about these things and really think about how we can support students where we are uniquely positioned to do so. And one of those things is definitely a grant program for help students to do their DACA renewals. So Dream.Us has partnered with Mission Asset Fund to provide grants for our scholars to be able to receive the $495 check for the full cost of their DACA applications. The links, I've linked both the further information for how students to apply for the program on the PowerPoint, which you will also receive tomorrow in the PC Weekly. So you can always click on the links to get more information, to get access to the application, and to see other details provided for the students. But let's highlight some information, right? So one of the things we know is that the application is available online right now, and students can submit their application online along with their payment process. Unfortunately, we are unable to provide the payment virtually through this program. So students need to know if they want to get access to this grant opportunity, they need to go old school, right? They need to go paper application and mail out the check, mail out their application and mail out the check. And so some things that they need to know is that this is a physical paper check that will be mailed out to them, but that the check is actually made out to USCIS, Department of Homeland Security, right? So they need to make sure that they know that, because they will not be able to deposit the check themselves, right? They will need to enclose the check with their application when they mail it out to USCIS in order to have that process. If you have students who are interested in this and are like, can I just use my rent money and I'll just pay for this online and then I'll just reimburse myself once the check comes in? No, they can't do that. They will not be able to deposit the check. So please make sure that they are waiting for the check to come in to send in their application. So taking this into consideration, right? The process takes roughly about 3 weeks from the point that the student submits their application for the grant to have the check in hand, right? So we want to make sure that students are taking that into consideration when they're applying for the grant, and that they're timing this accordingly with when they want to submit their DACA renewal application. So UCIS recommends that DACA renewals be submitted 150 days prior to the expiration date on the student's current DACA approval, right? So again, we want students to be thinking about this. We want students to maximize this and make sure that they're submitting their applications as close to that 150-day mark as possible. So students should really be applying for the grant 3 to 4 weeks prior to them sending their application, so that they will have the check in hand and again be able to capitalize on that 150-day mark. Ideally, we want students to have their DACA application already sort of ready to submit before they apply for the grant, right? These checks are like any other checks. They have expiration dates. We really don't want scholars to be sitting on these checks while they're figuring out having their applications completed, and then having that time, those expiration timelines start to expire. So as I mentioned, Mission Asset Fund is our partner in this program and really administer the application process for us. As part of their process, they have a pre-application and a regular application process, which requires our scholars to identify themselves as Dream.Us scholars and provide their scholar app ID for verification. This is super, super important, guys, because in order for the students to be eligible for the full $495 as a grant and not have to pay any of that back, they need to be Dream.Us scholars, right? So they have to identify, and there's a verification process that happens on our end so that the students can be eligible for the full grant process. We do note that many of you, along with working with our scholars, work with other undocumented students on your campus. So we wanted to make a note that Mission Asset Fund also provides grants and loans for undocumented students outside of the Dream.Us scholarship. So if you're looking at them for a resource for other students that you are working with, please, you can click on the link and go on to their website and see what other information and resources they provide to assist students with the other applications. Again, a lot of that process for students outside of the Dream.Us is in forms of half loan, half grant. So there are some opportunities for students where they will need to pay at least some of those funds back. In addition to the series that we have for what you need to know that is coming up, we know that many of our students are looking at going into grad school, and for many of the graduate programs that they're looking to attend, will have to take the GRE. The GRE can be costly as well. It can go up to $220 to sit for a session. So we've partnered up with GRE to provide 50% discounts for our scholars. And so again, this is available to our seniors and to our alumni as well, right? Because we all know students don't always go straight into their grad programs. Sometimes they take a year off to work and earn some money before they go through the process. So this is available not only to our seniors who want to get an early start, but also to our alumni who want to have access to this resource and get the discount. Discounts are available for both the subject exams and the general exam. So whether the students are taking one or the other or a combination of both, we do have codes that we will be able to provide them to get discounts for each. The discounts also come with a free prep session for the GRE that students will be able to have access to. It is online, and they will be able to have a little bit of a prep and study prep material before they take the exam. Again, free of cost with the discount code. Important note here, guys, these codes do expire, right? So this is not something that students should be applying to if they're planning to take the GRE a year from now, a year and a half from now, right? We ask that students who are seriously taking the GRE exam within roughly the next 3 months or so apply for the codes so that they can be sure that it will not expire and they'll be able to use it and have access to that resource. This is an ongoing program. Students do not have to be worried about, if I don't apply now, will it be available in the future? I can't 100% guarantee that, but it is something that we want to continue to provide for our scholars moving forward. Scholars should also be prepared to pay the remaining balance. So again, this is not a complete waiver, everyone. This is a 50% discount. So students will be able to receive the code, and as per their registration for the GRE exam, they will be able to put in the code, which will automatically give them a 50% discount, but students are still liable for the other 50% and should be ready to pay that upon applying for their GRE seating. Scholars will need to submit their app ID in order to receive the discount code. Again, this is a program that is specifically available for our scholars, so there is a verification process. Again, the link on the PowerPoint will take you to our website where you can receive more information on this program, as well as the link to the actual application. In addition to the GRE discount, many of you know Kaplan, right? Kaplan is world known for their test prep. And we know that along with the GRE, many of our students are looking at going into law school, going into medical school, and sometimes have to take the GRE, the LSAT, the MCAT, or the GMAT exams, right? So we've also have a partnership with Kaplan to be able to provide to our seniors and our alum online course materials for any of these 4 exams completely free. Now, this is kind of amazing, guys. I don't know how many of you are super familiar with Kaplan, but these programs, these courses run hundreds and hundreds of dollars, up to $400 or $500, and it is completely free for our students to get access to. Again, we want students to think about submitting these requests in a timely fashion, right? So they should have a timeline as to when they want to take their entrance exam, when they're submitting their applications for graduate school, law school, medical school, whatever that is, and apply for the voucher in line with when they want to take the exam, because again, we don't want them taking it too far in advance and have the voucher expire before they are able to sort of claim it or redeem the voucher. And again, this is a program specifically available to our scholars, so they should be ready to provide their app ID with the app when they're applying for the voucher in the application form. And again, the link is here for all of you to be able to click on it, go onto our website to collect more information on the program, including the actual application request form. Part of using this platform of what you need to know and these TikTok style videos is to provide information for scholars of the resources that we provide, but also to reinforce best practices for them, right? We know that you have, that many of you are doing community building opportunities for scholars on your campus, that you're meeting with scholars on your campus. So we also want to do our part on our end to reinforce that work that you are doing and emphasizing to scholars the importance of them staying connected with their campus support teams, right? To advocate for themselves, to seek out help when it is needed. We know as a best practice in higher education that students who are most engaged with their college support systems and networks are more likely to stay on track for graduation and do better academically, right? So on our end, we want to reinforce the work that you are doing on the ground and make sure that we are emphasizing to our scholars the importance of them staying connected with you, to working with you on their college plan for completion, and really stay connected with their systems on the ground. I'm going to shift notes here a little bit. We talked a little bit about the professional conference grants last PC Power Hour. It was just a recap of what we did last semester, where my colleagues Nicole and Melanie took two groups of students, one to the SHIP conference and one to the Alpha conference. So we are looking to reinstitute the program again this semester. One of the things that we are still looking at doing some of those group trips, and we will give you information on those group trips a little bit later down the line when we are ready to launch those. But we wanted to give you heads up about the individual conference grants that we are launching next month. So hopefully mid to late February of 2023, we are going to be launching it's still the conference grant program, but sort of a subset of that. And it will launch next month, but they will be ongoing throughout the academic year and will have rolling deadlines depending on when students want to attend a conference. One of the main differences between the individual conference grant and the group ones that we've done in the past is that this one actually allows scholars to identify, and they get to choose which conference they want to attend and make the request to be able to receive funding for them to attend their conference. So let's talk a little bit about the eligibility for that, right? So it is open to all of our current eligible scholars, regardless of immigration or work authorization. And I'll explain a little bit of what I mean about eligibility when we talk about ineligibility, so give me a minute on that. But again, it is available to all of our scholars, regardless of immigration, regardless of DACA, TPS. Students who are completely out of status are eligible to apply for this grant. Conferences must be directly related to the scholar's major or career of interest. We are hoping to have scholars participate in this program who have at least a year of their academics under their belt. So we are looking at students somewhere in the sophomore standing, so 30 credits or above. And the student must be enrolled at a partner college in the semester for which they are requesting the funding for. We are also looking for a 2.5 GPA or higher. Scholar must be of 18 ages of older. They must have a personal credit card, not a debit card. And this is for the scholars to use during their check-ins. A lot of these conferences, students will need to go to check into a hotel. Their credit cards will not be charged as long as they don't charge anything to their hotel rooms or damage anything in the hotel rooms. So students need to know that it is just sort of a liability thing for them to present in case any additional expenses occur. They must have a valid photo ID, again, for the hotel check-in purposes, a valid travel ID for if they're traveling by plane, and we do ask scholars to commit to attending at least 2 full days of the conference. This does not include the arrival dates. So a lot of our scholars will be traveling to attend these conferences. We do ask the scholars to arrive the day before they are actually thinking about participating in the conference. As we all know, a lot of these conferences, they start at 9 a.m. and we don't want students traveling by plane or train the day of that and sort of miss the sessions or miss any information. So we really want to make sure that they are already at their conference location before they are planning on participating in activities. Now talking a little about ineligibility, right? So this is for current scholars. So unfortunately, our alum are ineligible to participate in this program and receive a grant. Going back to that eligible scholars portion that I mentioned earlier, scholars who are no longer eligible for the TheDream.Us scholarship as a whole, whether the student has maxed out on their funds, they've timed out, they have gained their permanent residency status and so are no longer part of the scholarship program. If they did not attend for any particular semester and did not officially request a break in enrollment, any of these things could trigger the student being ineligible for the TheDream.Us scholarship as a whole. It will also trigger that the student will not be able to participate as part of this program. Scholars who received a professional conference grant last year, like I said, Mel and Nicole took a group of students last year, will be ineligible to receive another grant this semester because we want to make sure that we're spreading the wealth. We want to make sure that we're making this opportunity available to as many scholars as possible and give opportunity for those who have not already benefited from the program last year to be able to benefit from the program this year. And also requests for international conferences because we know it's going to come up. Someone's going to want to go abroad. Obviously, due to the population of scholars that we work with, this adds a lot of additional complexities. So we are not making international conferences eligible for this program. All right. So how do scholars apply? So there will be an online application form, which will live on our website, and everything will go up next, again, towards to the end of next month. So the information will be on the website along with the link for the application. Our scholars will be emailed directly notice and announcements that this is going to be available to them. And we will also include it in the PC Weekly so that you all have the information as a reference and will be able to have the link to the website and the application form at your disposal and be able to reference that as you are talking with students and having conversations with students who have questions about this particular program. On the website, we'll also have a timeline for when scholars should be submitting their applications. Obviously, we don't want a student submitting an application today for a conference they want to attend tomorrow. So that will also be outlined on the website and will be available for you guys to reference. And so that information will be there for you. One thing that I want to note, this is an amazing opportunity for scholars not only to participate and network and be a part of this conference environment, but if you have students that you're working with who are interested in presenting at conferences and are working with faculty members and may have an opportunity to add that to their resume, but are looking at some of the financial constraints of what that entails, this is an amazing opportunity for them to apply and hopefully receive funding to be able to do so. So what does the professional conference grant cover? This is where we get to the fun stuff of what we're paying out, right? We're like Oprah, we're like, here, you get a conference grant, you get a conference grant. So one of the things we cover is long distance travel to and from the conference location. So that could be either plane or train. We sort of define long distance travel to being roughly about 150 miles from the conference location to the student's residence. We also cover the registration fee, and we all know that those registration fees can be pretty costly, right? So we do cover the cost of, excuse me, the scholar registering for the conference. Many of these registration fees come with a meal plan. So there's usually a continental breakfast, sometimes lunch that is included with part of the registration fee. The students are eligible to receive that as well. And again, that hotel, right? That's another really costly sort of item. So as mentioned before, the conference grant will cover up to 3 nights of a hotel stay at the conference hotel for the scholar. What are some of the major things that we anticipate scholars are going to ask, but we do not cover? Local travel. So anything from mass transit or cabs, Uber, Lyfts, we will not reimburse scholars for those costs. We will not reimburse scholars for any costs for using their personal car. So if the student wants to drive to the conference, unfortunately, we are not able to reimburse them for parking, for mileage, gas, or anything else associated with the use of using their personal car to travel to the conference. And we also are not able to reimburse any additional meals outside of what is already included in the conference registration. That was a lot. I feel like I've been talking for days. So we want to open up this next portion for questions, concerns, feedback. Again, we really want to hear from you guys, so feel free to unmute yourselves, or you can type your questions in the chat and we can go through them. And if you have any questions regarding the EVR process, the surveys, any of the programs that we've listed out, in addition to the professional conference grants, please feel free to unmute yourselves and let us know. We want to hear from you.
I have a question. So if we're not covering, oh, hold on 1 second. Someone is at the door. Somebody else can go.
Okay. Anybody else have questions, concerns?
Hi, how you doing?
Oh, go.
I'm sorry. No, sorry. I have a question. If the student decided to do the conference here in New York City, but for example, if the conference is in Manhattan and the student lives in Staten Island, will be able to get the hotel pay, not the transportation?
That is, I mean, the student can technically commute. I know it's a long commute, but it is within.
It still is too close.
It's kind of too close for us to accommodate the hotel cost. Yes.
Okay.
I think Mel, you had another question.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask the same question because I know similar questions were asked in the chat. So just wanted to make sure that was answered.
Awesome.
Sorry, I was just going to tell everyone because I had the pleasure of taking some of the scholars along with Nicole to this conference grant, and one, please encourage them to apply. I know a lot of them may think that it's not likely if they apply, but I guarantee you, if they at least try, they're more likely to get that opportunity. And for a lot of our scholars, especially for this last conference at SHIP, it was their first time traveling. So to be able to experience that for the first time, have that resource available to them, we put a lot of effort into prepping them for the travel aspect, but also in how to network and how to present themselves at these career fairs, at these professional conferences. So that way they have all the tools needed to fully be prepared. And so please encourage scholars to apply. It's a great opportunity. I saw it firsthand. So I'll just say that.
Sorry, you won't mention the timeline is gonna be given. It's like when this is gonna be available, because the semester already started. Students start last week, at least in CUNY, seniors school. I mean, it says most of them, they're gonna be in class, anything the weekend. But if it's something for summer, the timeline, or they can, when we're gonna have more information or where I can find information.
Yes, so Gabriella, so we are looking to officially launch the program in mid to late February, so mid to late next month. When that is launched, you guys will all receive the information via the PC Weekly, so that will be a part of the announcement, and we'll have links to where the information will live on our website. So to have access to the deadlines for when students should be applying for the grant, any other information that they need to know regarding the process, as well as the application itself for your review. So you'll have all of that information within the next couple of weeks. It will be again listed in the PC Weekly, so that you'll be able to have access to that information.
I have another tricky question for you.
Yes.
Because this is the conference is excellent for the students. They are almost done or in the last seniors, upward or sophomores. Maybe if they have the scholarship, but they don't have the full payment, I mean, they still receiving money, but maybe they need to pay part of the semesters. They still got some money, they still have some money left. They can apply, or it need to be students who are, because you're talking about some kind of the funds. Is any difference for the students who maybe only get $500 or a student who get the full semester? They still can apply? Because we're talking about students and 30 credits can be 40 credits, 50 credits almost ready for graduation. The funds they start stretching, but this is the students that really need this kind of opportunities. Will make any difference? Or doesn't matter how much money you are eligible? If your funds still, they are there, you can apply, or you guys checking if the student still is full money, full payment or less?
Yeah, I don't think that we will be making like I think your question, Gabrielle, if I'm understanding, if the student is attending part-time, and so they're not using sort of like the full scholarship amount for a particular semester.
No, not necessarily you can be a full-time student, but you're not getting the full scholarship anymore. You're getting only because your money is start running out. They still can apply.
Yes. As long as they are enrolled and they are still an eligible scholar, because they're receiving some funding, even if it's at the tail end of maxing out their scholarship, they can apply because they are still eligible for the scholarship that semester.
Thank you.
Sorry about that earlier. The question I had was, obviously we have some students who may not be DACA recipient, who will not be able to travel. Do you make exceptions if they could drive to, if it's not too far?
They can drive if they wish to do so, and we will, if it's far enough, we will still cover their hotel costs and the registration fee.
Okay.
But what we will not be able to cover is like gas and tolls and things of that nature that will be associated to the cost of riding their personal vehicle.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have questions, concerns?
Yeah, meals concern me because you said that there's only what the conference offer. Means if the conference offer only like a coffee and some kind of mini breakfast. Student is the 2 days there. It's like then is any way they can have meals inside the place or and something is will be covered? Because meals is expensive. Whatever that's one of the expensive thing. Even if you eat you know, something light, but they need to eat. And when we're talking about meals, is normally conference covered like a what? The morning.
I wonder if if they can cover, if the schools could pick that up, if this scholarship doesn't cover it. Because it wouldn't cost the universities that much if we were to cover and use the per diem that is used for other events, so then it's just like a fact. I would think at colleges in Mary, if that was the case, that's what we would do, probably cover per diem for the students if they were to receive one of the scholarships.
Yeah, so unfortunately, right now, we're not able to accommodate the additional meals. We are really looking at trying to cover the major expenses, right? So I know meals can be expensive, but flights can be really, really expensive. Hotel costs can be really, really expensive. So as part of this grant and what we're really trying to focus is what are the major costs that would deter a student from being able to participate in these opportunities. So we do ask that the students make note of that, make accommodations for that, and be prepared to come out of pocket a little bit for their own personal meals outside of what is being covered through the scholarship grant.
And Chris, if I can add to that, because that was a concern as well last year. However, we did make it work, right? Like Chris mentioned, we covered the bigger expenses. And then when it came to meals, we kind of like in the chat, right? Like Albert's giving us these hacks similarly, right? We said, well, the hotel offers the breakfast in the morning. So if you wake up early enough, you're guaranteed a breakfast. At the conferences, they usually provide lunch and snacks, especially if they're student oriented. For example, at the SHIP conference, they offered lunches for their attendees, first come, first serve basis. So we always make sure to let our scholars know to get there with time. In addition to that, a lot of the conferences had those private events sponsored by corporate companies. So they would also offer free meals to attendees. So there are ways to work around the meal component, but I really like the idea that Caddy, brought up about potentially having schools sponsor some sort of meal voucher for students, because it's not a guaranteed meal all the time. And so we want to make sure that our students aren't going hungry as they're attending these conferences. And when we take the bigger group, we also like to do some sort of a social gathering for our scholars. So we usually will buy pizza or provide them with some sort of meal when we all gather. But yeah, it's not for all the time, but this is how we worked around it last year, and hoping that we can continue it this year. Yeah, and there's another great hack by Albert.
Albert, I saw you had your hand raised. You have a question?
No, I was just gonna talk about like ways to hack. I used to go to conferences all the time in grad school. So again, it's one of those things where you might have a hotel room paid for and you're willing to share it with a friend who's also going, and they may be willing to like get food or take you out to dinner. And I think that, students, they're willing to spend money on food if they're getting everything else paid for. So I don't think it's one of those things where they're like, oh, there's like no possible way I can make this happen. I mean, if you go to Boston, I would get food and show you where to get free food. All the colleges have their own socials every other night. There are all these like different like places you can go and you can get free food. I wouldn't worry about like the NASPA conference or the NACA conference, because there are a lot of ways to get free food.
Awesome. Thanks, Albert. I wanted to also sort of come back a little bit to the what you need to know videos. And so I just wanted to sort of hit a little bit of a note on this. We are using this platform to provide information to our scholars regarding resources and other protocols that they need to be aware of. But we also want to encourage you guys to use them as well, right? So these are ways for you guys to also sort of keep in the know about what are some of the protocols if a student wants to take next semester off, if they want to transfer. The videos are really short, they're roughly 2 minutes. So they're a really great way to go through and sort of just keep yourself up to date and informed about some of the processes. And Hayne even mentioned earlier today where she's had scholars reach out to her regarding some of these programs, and she literally just sends them the video, right? Like you don't even like think about how you can use this as a tool. And when students have specific questions about these different programs, you don't even need to engage, meet with the student or really have too much work put into the process. You can literally send them the link, send them the video, tell them to look that through. And if you have any further questions, obviously they can follow up with you. But we want this to sort of help build out some of the toolkits for you guys in the way you're working and communicating with scholars and working with scholars, and hopefully making this as easy as possible for you. I remember Kevin last couple of PC Power Hours talked about using Blackboard and how he uses that as a central area for communicating with his scholars. I can totally see Kevin just putting up all the what you need to know videos in Blackboard and just having them live there for all his scholars to be able to access. So these are ways, again, that you can utilize some of the work that we're doing to make your jobs a little bit easier. I know that we're coming out on time right now, so I want to take a sec to just talk a little bit about next month's Power Hour and provide a little bit of a preview. So our colleague, Nicole Wesley, will be leading the discussion next month, and we'll be talking about the Dream.Us experiential fellowship program launch that we will be doing. So you can learn how to provide Dream.Us scholars with paid experiential fellowship opportunities that focus on education and or professional development. Next month's Power Hour is February 28th, same time, Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Central Time, 11 Pacific Time. And so Nicole will be really outlining this additional opportunity that we're providing to our students. Again, we keep hearing from students, they need opportunities to be able to take advantage of these opportunities, but often do not do so because they have to work, right? They have to make money to support their families and their households. And so we want to make sure that we're providing them opportunities to engage in these types of experiences while also not compromising their income opportunities as well. So we hope to see you guys next month for this, where Nicole will just outline exactly what we're going to be doing for this program. Before we get off, any last questions, concerns, comments? What do you guys want to see? What videos do you want Melanie to put out next? Let us know. Elena just wanted to also note in the chat, February 28th is also the deadline for the national application for the scholarship. So just another reminder for you guys. All right, so I don't think there are any further questions. Thank you guys all for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have these sessions, to talk with you, to share with you. Please let us know if you need anything and how we can better support you moving forward. Thank you guys, have a good one.